Hello and welcome back to Get Even. This is Bio Enchanted, and today we'll be exploring the mansion where Rose and Jasper have their meeting. Let's see what we can uncover here, shall we? I quite like this level because it's quite logically laid out. As a result, it's fairly small, but it's also varied in the kinds of rooms you see. Perhaps not as good as it could be, but it's still pretty neat.
Jasper.
I knew they'd be sending their inside man, but I never knew he was so fucking gorgeous. How you doing, sweetheart? I'm Jasper, and I'm very pleased to meet you.
You can cut the flattery, Mr. Prado. I know who you are. Our employer has filled me in.
Filled you in, lucky bastard.
I'm sorry.
Nothing. I get it. You're a professional type. I suppose you want to see the setup. Cross the I's, dot the T's. All that shit.
Yes, Mr. Prado. Please, show me round.
Their first meeting. That's a start. Get as much information as you can, Mr. Black. Be meticulous.
Understood.
There are only 2 rooms with a large amount of enemies here. Here I'm just trying to do that blue thing, but nowhere near close enough yet, so... Almost getting spotted there, so we better be careful here. Let's just focus on these guys, shall we? Now they've got a little bit more cover. And I have a little bit of trouble with the corner gun here, because for some reason he loaded the automatic pistol. I don't want the automatic pistol. Here I'm trying to make it, so basically the way you switch between the weapon and the phone is the same way you switch between weapons in the corner gun. You essentially hold the Y button for a certain length of time. I think tap to change between them and hold to, no, I think hold to change to the phone and tap to switch to weapons, but I can never remember which one it is. So sometimes I end up getting a little bit stuck and trying to like just make it happen. But here we're going to start actually using more aspects of the corner gun that we were taught about, but never actually used, like the whole looking up to look over things. Which is a nice feature, one that I don't remember exists nearly enough. As I probably could have shot through these shells using that, but I didn't think to. So let's just get behind this guy, shall we? As you can see, while there aren't many enemies, they do a decent job occasionally, not quite covering each other, but of just generally filling the room with red, so it can kind of get a little bit tense, even if you don't really need it to. So let's find a few bits of evidence, shall we? It's obvious his plan for the kidnapping was incredibly well laid out. We've got a lot of maps going on here. Don't know why the stairs weren't already on the blueprint, but there you go. And a nice little photo of the house itself as well. That guy in the corner can be ignored. There's nothing in there. There was totally evidence there. I'm calling BS on that. I just misaligned the frame, I think. So here I'm being a little more careful to make sure it actually happens.
Fingerprints identified. Jasper Prado.
Alcohol, Mr. Prado. I thought you said you were a professional.
Oh, hey now, Missy. It's not for me. The boss man has sent some of his own men as backup, you know? It's for those boys. A happy team is a productive one, no?
And a drunk team is a dead one. Robert won't take this lying down. And he has resources of his own. You'll need to be alert.
Okay, I get it. It's off the menu, right?
As you can see, Jasper was a little too laid back for Rose's liking. Explains why he got in so much trouble. I like the little shooting range there. It's a shame that nothing really happens if you shoot it, like no little achievements or anything. It's just... It would have been nice to have a little, like, acknowledgement, a little something to play with the environment a little bit. Then again, it's not really that kind of game. I mean, most of the effort is obviously probably the presentation of the plot more than anything else. Apparently someone was really pushing Robert Ramsey's buttons there. Clearly from him. Hence the name on the text message. I mean, I think that was from him, although it seems kind of weird that it was, but yeah. I was just going off the name of the text message there. Let's clear this room out. This room has got a lot of enemies that kind of cover each other quite well, especially these two over here. Yeah, these guys are really covering each other quite well. It's really hard to tell what the best way of really dealing with these two is. Because this is just kind of a mess of vision cones over there. It's a very small room, so there's really no room to sneak around them. Except when they do that, so I figured this would be the best time to go after them. Made a slight miscalculation also. But recovered quite nicely. A little bit of a mess there, but let's see what there is to find in this room, shall we?
Detective Marvin Hart speaking. Jared, is that you? Have you got something for me? Hello?
Because I don't know what the text message said, Robert. I'm pretty certain that it was just supposed to have probably been from Jared. Because obviously everyone's kind of worried about him being an informant. Hence him being imprisoned in the last level. Obviously they don't trust him particularly well. So yeah, I think that text message was probably supposed to have been from him.
Partial security ID. Fingerprints identified. Rose Atkins.
I really just got a little bit confused.
I pick the best man for the job, in and out, so we know that it's done. Then once we've got her, we just sit tight until the payment arrives.
I'm not so sure if it would be that simple. He's paranoid. There's multiple alarm systems, CCTV.
Listen, darling, it's a kidnapping, not rocket surgery. To be honest, I've lost count of how many snatches I've done. All you need to worry your pretty little head about is that the info you've given us is legit. You get me?
I assure you my info is legit, Mr. Prado. It's what you're going to do with it that worries me.
Also, I accidentally kind of skipped a little bit of dialogue in this mission. Essentially, what you're supposed to do is explore the middle floors first, then come up here. But I came up here because it's busier and more annoying to do. As a result, things get a little bit out of order. But you still get all the breadcrumbs eventually. You just need to reshuffle things a little. Because essentially, if you go to you can go to the end of this level first, and it'll tell you, oh, to get in this particular thing, we need some kind of security credential. that is that half of the keycard that we just examined, that was Rose's keycard that Jasper stupidly broke. Just figured I'd fill you in on that so you get some context as to why I scanned that, beyond it being some evidence. And you accidentally even read these two backwards as well. So that one was intended to be seen first. Yeah, apparently they got into a bit of a tussle, Jasper and Rose. And Rose can give quite well as take it quite a bit too. Not surprising, she has been seen in the tapes that we've seen before this level as being somewhat violent when pushed. It's not the first time she's threatened violence on Jasper for inappropriate behaviour. Certainly won't be the last. Obviously, Rose isn't particularly happy with her arrangements when it comes to allies. One thing I quite like with the audio in this game is the little audio cues when you actually see the little holographic things. This one's a little bit mean because it kind of penalizes you for killing this guy. You get yelled at for it.
Simulation or destroying everything will not help you.
But this is the only way to really get to those bits of evidence on the board over there. I mean, he'd see you otherwise.
Fingerprints identified. Jasper Prado.
But luckily you get some leeway.
Listen, just hear me out.
Our employer has given me very specific orders not to let you near any explosives.
Fuck's sake, well, you guys have got to trust me. I know my way around the fucking bomb.
Not what I heard, Mr. Prado.
Fuck you. Fuck the lot of you.
Comes our very first mission, not what we've seen as well. Remember, the bomb detonates regardless whether you disarm it or not, so obviously it's poorly wired. But obviously, Rose has been gathering information on this family for quite some time. Makes sense, she's been Robert's secretary, she's had the opportunity. Yeah, sometimes some of this text, this doesn't hear, but it kind of comes close. Sometimes some of this text actually gets cut off in a way you can't scroll to, which is really weird.
Fingerprint found. One matching profile. Thomas Hill.
I mean, this game otherwise has fairly good polish, it's just a few little things like that that kind of nag at you a little bit. In here we of course have some more evidence. This room's actually kind of easy to miss if you don't already know it's here. Just because all the evidence is hidden quite well into the corner of the room, pretty much way away from the actual doorway. So if you just glance at the doorway, you might not even think too much about it. There's an error message on that computer there. And yeah, there's actually one thing that I end up missing in this level which really annoyed me, so we have to go back for that.
DNA found. Rose Atkins.
I know what it is though.
You calm down a bit, would you? Christ.
What? I'm calm. I'm perfectly calm.
We're on edge. I can feel it in my bones. I didn't get where I am today without knowing when a fella's on edge. You're so on edge, you're like a fucking razor.
That doesn't even make sense.
Fuck you. Why is this so important to you anyway?
I'm invested, that's all.
Ah, you've been promised something.
That's none of your business.
Overall, though, while I'm not the biggest fan of Rose as a character because of how flat she can be a little bit, this gives her some aspects of characterization that make her fun, like the violent streak, and that one message in the attic where she mentioned feeling like she's always having to Photoshop herself due to being that much of a, if I think the good term maybe sociopath. Well, at least having trouble like connecting with people in a genuine way while being good at pretending she is. I think I'm using the right kind of path there. Let's head to this final room. This is where we would have learned about the keycard thing if I come
Your
here
current
first.
location matches coordinates from which FDG servers were remotely accessed. There should be an open terminal nearby. This could give you the information we're looking for.
Neutralize? Well, the less I know about that, the better, I suppose. As long as it doesn't change anything. I'd better be able to trust you, Atkins. That would seem to be the case, yes. Keep me updated. And let me know the second she arrives at the safe house.
That phone had really bad textures. It's not even popping, they just look that bad. Is that kind of note that I quite like. It helps me like Rose a little bit more. So there's little bits of character where it's just like, kill Jasper for screwing up my card with pleasure, kind of a thing. That's pretty funny.
Security ID complete. Rose Atkins login now available.
Okay.
And now I've scanned her
Contact Rand.
palms.
We say, give us the memory gizmo or your girl gets it. That's it.
That's it.
What if he says no?
He won't.
You said he don't much care for his family. What if he just...
He won't.
And here's where we need to actually use that
Let's try
keycard.
this out. Ah, the ID works.
It's right not to trust her. How could you trust her? You weren't a victim. You set this all in motion.
I quite like this sequence. I also quite like this little email, that's cute. Little things like that help give Grace some personality outside of being the kidnapped victim, and that helps her character a lot. She is generally a really fun character. I like Grace a lot. I still quite like the way these kind of levels kind of build themselves around you. It's a cool
Grace,
visual.
I'm only home for another few days now, so let's arrange something soon. Oh, and make sure you check out that link I sent you. You'll love it. Anyway, call me back. Bye. Mom? Is that you? Dad? Wait. Who are you? What are you doing? No, don't touch me! Take your fucking hands off! Help!
Yeah, Grace does not go quietly into this good night. She fought like hell. That's part of the reason I love her.
Lenore,
Where were you?
what happened? Are you okay? Where's Grace?
Where were you?
At work, you know that. Where's Grace?
You weren't at work. I called you at work. I called you on your mobile. I even called Rose. Nobody answered.
Lenore, where is she? Where's Grace? Lenore!
She's gone, Robert! She's gone!
Wherever she is, I'll find her. I promise.
You did this, didn't you?
What? How could you even say that?
Your obsessions, Robert. With work, with your technology, with Rose. It's all led us here.
With Rose? Lenore, I have
Don't. Just... don't.
Hello?
Sorry to call you here, Rob. You weren't answering your mobile.
I can't talk right now. I'll speak to you later.
Is everything okay?
She's gone.
Who's gone? Lenore?
I have to go.
But yeah, it's a really good sequence, that. Quite like the decaying paintings, there's a no state of mind decays as well into a much less optimistic one.
I understand now. That girl, Grace. That was the girl from the explosion. The girl with the bomb was Grace Ramsey.
Yes, Mr. Black. The girl you failed to save.
You knew. You put me through all of this to find information that you could have just told me. Or was that not part of my fucking treatment?
No, Mr. Black, I couldn't tell you. I needed you to remember. I needed you to understand who she was. I needed you to say her name.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Black.
For Grace. She was taken, kidnapped, held to ransom for Ramsey's memory tech. Your memory tech. It's you, isn't it? You're Robert Ramsey.
Yes. I'm Robert Ramsey. And Grace... my Grace was abducted for a ransom demand I never received.
Oh, I don't know what to say, Robert. I'm just so...
Save your pity. Save your emotions. I do not need them. All I need to know is who Rose and Jasper were working for. Who was behind it, Mr. Black?
I don't know. But isn't it obvious? If I had to make a guess...
Then you would be making assumptions. We deal with facts here, Mr. Black. Hard evidence, empirical data. I have my suspicions, yes. But we have come too far to throw it all away on guesswork. We must continue with your treatment.
Treatment? There never was any treatment, though, was there? I'm not here through choice, am I?
Indeed you're not, Mr. Black. But if I told you you were a prisoner, you would never have cooperated. Accept my apologies. But I must have my answers.
Quite a lot to unpack there, isn't there? Certainly the Robert Ramsey thing was a pretty obvious twist, but it's well presented. I'll see you next time for one of the more interesting levels. Goodbye.